Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Although on my last Let's Play series that I barely uploaded content for, let's be real, I genuinely didn't have that many followers anyways. So welcome to my channel. I have decided to get rid of the other content because it was only a couple episodes and they weren't that great. The editing tool that I was using wasn't great. I just wanted to start over. So this is actually a world that I've been playing in for not super long, definitely less than a year, but it's one that I genuinely enjoy, and I just didn't enjoy the other one as much, so I'm gonna stick with this one. In this first episode, I am building an iron farm, and I actually will post the link below to the tutorial that I was using. It's a really great tutorial. I will say this was quite difficult for me. I've never built an iron farm before. I mean, it's really not that hard. It was just, I don't have a ton of supplies in this world, and so starting out, I was trying to find iron in all the caves that are around me, and I swear to you, finding iron was so difficult. I know that the game, when it updated, they had taken away the amount of iron that you would find, but it's really frustrating sometimes. So I figured an iron farm is something that I'm gonna need for sure starting out with. So what you see that I'm doing here is I decided to do stone blocks and get some slabs, and then I'm gonna head back over to where the village is at. As you can see here, this is where I'm placing them. Again, I followed a tutorial. You can also do the same one if you want. This is a rather large iron farm, but I just really wanted to, I had the space and I wanted to make sure that I was getting a lot of iron. So I got all the stairs and most of the supplies that I needed to start out with. So I started placing all these blocks down like this. And then what it'll have me do is place water blocks to where it flows down towards the middle. So I'm placing all of these stairs, all these blocks through here, like it said to do. After that, I found the middle of the square, and I sped this process up because it was ridiculously long, but basically I just did this so I could make an infinite water source and then place all the water blocks so it flows down towards the middle, because this is where we're gonna catch our iron at. Then I decided to go to some caves. I really needed some iron. I was starting to run low and all I was finding was zombies and a lot of copper. I'm a little frustrated that copper is just a building block and not like something you can make tools and stuff out of, but it's fine. And then I found this coal vein that was ridiculously long, so it just keeps going and keeps going. So after collecting all that coal, then I found some copper. And then I found some more copper. And more copper. And I kid you not, I found like 5 more veins after that. But after coming out of the cave, I realized they had updated the game with the leaf litter. So I took all these flowers with me, and then I ran into some of the new cows. I think these ones were Highland cows, I think. Those are the only new ones I've found so far, but I also haven't gone out to look for the other new ones. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'll do that in another episode. But at this point, I was just trying to get them back home. So I put them in a boat and figured I'd come back for them later. So back to the iron farm. Here is the middle of it. I placed all the water blocks, and I have to dig down and place a chest and then a couple of hoppers on top. So I also stole their bell that was in the original village and I took it back over to the iron farm because in the tutorial this is what he builds and then you place it here. And I'm not 100% sure if it's actually needed or not. I've read a couple different things due to some of the updates, but we're doing it regardless. I'm gonna do it exactly how he builds everything because I want to make sure that I do this right, and we'll see where it goes from there. So after placing the hoppers, I needed to find the middle. I have to dig down, and it shows digging down far enough to where you're underneath of the base and then digging towards the hoppers where the chest is at. So I had to dig out just to see where I was at exactly. From here I just guessed how many more blocks it would be down and then dug forward. And it looks like I'm right underneath the base, so this should be correct. Yep, and here we are. So I'm gonna dig this out. He shows there being a tunnel under here, and then I have to go gather some cats, tame them, put them down here. And I guess doing that keeps cats and everything else from spawning up above inside of this. So, I mean, I guess if they do spawn, I hear cats will drop string, so it would be a good string farm if you need a lot of string, but I don't need string, so in the meantime, that's what we're gonna do. I place a couple trap doors here just to make it easy to get in and out. I don't really like exactly where this is located with all this dirt around, so I might move all that out later, but for now, that's how it is. So after this, I had to start placing the blocks for the middle part that'll be in the air, which is where my villagers will be. So they need jobs, and fletching tables are one of the cheapest things to make, so that's what we did. And like I said before, I am absolutely following the tutorial to a T because I don't know what I'm doing and I don't want to mess it up. But then halfway through it, I realized that I ran out of fletching tables and I just needed to place down some gravel blocks to get more flint to make more fletching tables. So that's what I'm doing here. And I went ahead and just kept digging until I got enough. Fortunately, it's not that hard to make fletching tables, so you don't need a ton of flint. Afterwards, I made the rest of the base and then put stone blocks around it. You need 20 beds. So I went ahead and I started building out from the base on each side. For those of you that don't like uneven numbers, ignore this part. But I went ahead and did it just how he has it. So the way I built it at first was not correct. I thought I had it right, but I really didn't. I had 18 beds, you need 20. So I had 7 on one side, 7 on another, and then 2 and 2 on the other sides. So eventually I do have to fix that. But in the meantime, I needed more cats. So I had to go fishing. Fairly slowly was able to tame some of the cats. The first one I got was a calico. I continued on. Pushed her down into the hole. Get in there. And then I got another one. This one was a white cat. And then I continued on to get more. And I think all in all, I ended up with around 4. Hopefully that was enough. I think he said 5, but for the time being, it is what it is. So the second one I ended up with was a white cat. It was very stubborn. Took me a few tries, kept running out of fish, but got them down into the hole as well. So this part I didn't record, I kind of forgot, but you have to place all these signs. Very frustrating, not even gonna try to explain how you do it. But again, you can watch the tutorial if you'd like. He explains it way better than I ever could. And you have to place lava in the middle. So we're just gonna put it right. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I set myself on fire. Definitely messed that up. So we're gonna try to do that again. Yeah, I really messed up. I'm really glad that signs don't burn. I would be so upset if can you imagine the whole thing just goes up in flames, all the work that I just did? I would be so upset. But fortunately, they do not burn, and I'm going to assume that that's obviously why that they use signs, because it'll hold the block in place, nothing burns. It makes no logical sense whatsoever, but we're gonna go with it. I'm okay with that. And then I tried again. And we did it right this time. So it's not even, but it fills the whole thing. If an iron golem spawns in, it will definitely unalive it, and it'll go down into the hoppers, into the chest below, and we'll have our iron. Except nothing is spawning yet. So we're gonna keep going. I was a little confused as to why they weren't spawning yet though. I did have a few villagers in there already, but then I started realizing that the beds were put down and everything. The villagers that are in the original village immediately started walking over to it. So I decided to go ahead and just push them in. Just give you a little help, a little nudge. And then this guy fell off, of course, but at least he landed on the bed. And at some point I am going to put some blocks around the beds, so it'll be fine. And then I blocked off all the sides over here, made the wall much taller because I'm actually going to encase this in glass blocks. So once I was done, I started realizing that villagers were spawning outside of the wall. So I captured them in boats and then pulled them back into my base, put them all the way on top, and then released them. Then I realized that the reason that they were spawning was because you need to place down a block where they can't spawn on top of. Apparently leaves is that block. I'm not sure how that makes sense, but that's what I read. So we're gonna gather all these leaves, and then I'm gonna go ahead and place them around my base, and then we'll see if that fixes the problem. So it shows him just putting some blocks around it. Now his iron farm is definitely set up further inside of an area, whereas mine is on the edge. So obviously I didn't do it exactly like him, like I should have. So hopefully those leaf blocks on the outside will keep anything from spawning out there. So after that, I released the villagers, and then I just started pushing them one by one down into the hole. You're next. After you. And sometimes they're kind of stubborn. I noticed like some of them will just go so willingly and just let you push them, and then others will completely just walk away from you. A little annoying, but we got them all in there. So I covered it up, but then I realized nothing was spawning yet. So I went back, I rewatched the tutorial a few more times, realized that beds could be an issue. So I checked every single house for beds, but there was none left. I definitely took all of them out. So that was good. But then still nothing spawning. So the next thing I realized is that I'm gonna have to block off all the fletching tables underneath, and then go up above, break each fletching table, and replace it back where it was. Apparently it has something to do with the possibility of villagers not necessarily having a job at one of the fletching tables. Or it could be broken, or there's a lot of reasons. I don't know how to explain it, like I said before, but I went ahead and I did this. It took me a long time, but we got it done. I dropped down in there, and I immediately started breaking fletching tables and then replacing them one by one. This also took me a minute, so I went ahead and I just fast forwarded through it because I don't want to bore you. That's what we did until every single one was taken out and replaced. And I'm just hoping for the best at this point, that it did signal each villager to have a job. When I finished that, I went ahead and dropped down below and I left, but then I realized there wasn't enough beds. I rewatched the tutorial again because there was still no sign of any golem spawning. So I counted the amount of beds that I had. It was only 18, and apparently you need 20. So I went ahead and made a couple more beds, and then I went back out and I realized I'm gonna have to rebuild the way that I have the beds. Difficult considering I definitely have all these villagers in here already utilizing the beds. I did obviously make the bed areas little rooms because I wasn't sure if they were supposed to be actually using the beds or not. And from what I watched and some other tips and tricks that I looked up, I think they actually are supposed to be utilizing them. I'd have to go back and watch the tutorial, but I think that specific tutorial that I've been watching, I don't think he has them with access to the beds, but it just wasn't working for me, so I was trying anything and everything just to get it to work. And then at this point, I also realized that they could be spawning down in a cave below, so I came down here just to make sure that they weren't. They're not, obviously, this area is really small, but just wanted to check just in case. So I took all these blocks out, and then once that was done with, I put the lava back, and then I blocked off where all the beds are at, just so I can rearrange the way they're set up. It's not going to be even, it's going to look terrible for now. So again, if that bothers you, just skip through this part. But I need to make it to where 3 beds fit on each side instead of 2. So it's definitely not gonna look pretty for now. I'll have to come up with something later. But again, I'm not really gonna be looking at it a whole lot, fortunately, so it doesn't matter too much to me. So I went ahead, I started breaking the beds and making more room for everything. I placed them this direction instead of the other way, just so I could fit a 3rd one here, and then I put down more leaf blocks around it just so the villagers aren't trying to fall out of here. I sped this process up as it did take me just a little longer than normal, but I got the leaves back in and I changed all the beds facing this direction. Again, there is this weird little looking area. It doesn't look great and I'm gonna have to fix it later, but that's okay for now. Then I went over to the other side and I finished that one as well. I will say the villagers were kind of getting in my way on this one. Kind of annoying, but it's okay. Once this side was done, I went ahead and I left. Then I realized that I was missing 1 bed. I got out of there. I made 1 last bed, dropped back down, placed it, and everything seemed good. But it also says that your villagers have to have their job for 1 full working day before any golems will spawn. So it ended up being 1 whole day, but I didn't see any when I went back. Until I looked up, and there was one just standing on top, of course. So now they're spawning on top, but at least they're spawning. And I wasn't really sure what to do at this point because I felt like I had done everything that needed to be done. But then I heard a noise and I came back down and lo and behold, we have iron. Now I'm very excited. I mean, I shouldn't be so excited for an iron golem's death, but I am excited. So now we're gonna have iron and I'm gonna be able to work easily from here on out. I'm gonna feel a little more comfortable about the fact that I do have iron. I mean, I know iron probably isn't that big of a deal to some people, but this is a Let's Play series that I don't want it to go too quickly. I don't want to go too slow either. But I feel like there's so many different things that you can do in Minecraft that it's not something that is gonna go too fast. I'm not gonna have, you know, elytra or go to the end or anything anytime soon. There's a bunch of other things that I want to do first. In the next episode, I think I'm gonna go ahead and build onto the village further out, take the other villagers that are left over, and I'm gonna have them all with their separate jobs. And then I'm also going to start finding all the horses because I am in a biome that has all the different horses around that spawn in. So we're gonna start checking off the list of which ones I have and make a stable for them. Anyways, I hope you have a great day. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.